Funding for Decibel is provided by Texas Mutual Insurance.
As a school district, we may not know where the world is going. There is going to be technology.
When we are connected to each other, we can just do so much more.
Good evening, I'm Judy Maggio. Welcome to a model 21st century school. It's the perfect place to bring you tonight's Decibel on the future of education. Leander's Tom Glenn High School is just 4 years old. The $97 million state-of-the-art school was built to more closely resemble a college campus. It's complete with a student union, carpeted common areas with comfy chairs. It even has classrooms with collapsible walls for better collaboration between teachers and students.
Go ahead and look at it.
Customized curriculum, devices at every desk, it's all part of the ever-changing learning landscape. This is how many of us envision education, a teacher front and center and students taking notes. But this is a 21st century classroom, complete with online instruction and devices at your desk. Joanne Tanzer has taught high school science for close to 20 years. She's gone from just a few computers in the classroom to every student equipped with a laptop.
It's just incredible, the opportunities that they have that I think is really close to what they're going to have in the real workspace.
The world is changing, and so is the way our children learn. But what hasn't changed is the looming question of who's benefiting and who is getting left behind.
The technology is new, but the biases, the way that we sort of distribute resources and opportunities, that's the same as it's always been. So to me, I think about it sort of compounding advantages for those who have access to those resources. And once again, the folks who have less of those things are getting left behind.
Tonight on Decibel, the future of education. Let's begin with a look at how and why a 21st century building design really makes a difference, not only in the way students learn in the classroom, but prepare for life beyond high school.
Everyone's wired a lot differently, so, I think this gives them the space to work with those people of different wirings, if you will.
It's Monday morning at Leander's Glen High School, and social studies teacher Ryan Killian is starting a new lesson.
So we're kicking off our unit with classical Greece and Rome.
All right, y'all are good, no explanation needed. You've got the example there.
But students aren't taking notes from the blackboard.
So we're going to have them organized into stations, different stations. So each station is going to look a little bit different. Social studies, you get to design different lessons where the kids engage with each other and are able to work as kind of like mini historians. So the flex space gives us a huge opportunity in social studies to really push out, open up the classroom environment and allow for collaboration to occur. Just kind of from the top down, that's what we want to use the flex space for, is for collaboration.
Collaboration is the key at this cutting-edge campus. Its design breaks from the traditional school model and encourages more independent learning.
It takes a lot of courage for a school district, for a school board, a superintendent to build a building that isn't traditional.
Arturo Lomeli came on board as principal when Glen opened its doors 4 years ago.
So the collaboration really starts with our staff and really then makes its way down to our kids. Our staff are housed in collaborative spaces. We call them teacher houses. And so our teachers are constantly elbow partners with one another, sharing ideas, sharing data, sharing challenges and how they can maybe overcome those challenges with strategies. Literally breaking down the walls. We're able to collapse multiple walls within a classroom so that if we're both Algebra 1 teachers and you love teaching a certain concept and I struggle in that same concept, we can open a dividing wall and I can teach the entire class and we can support one another in that way.
Let's look at this one right here. You guys with me?
Matt Riley teaches AP World History. He admits the flexible, student-centered learning style was intimidating at first, but now he loves it.
You're used to, as a teacher, having your own classroom, having your own materials, having your own thing. So it was a big adjustment, but it was an awesome adjustment because it's so much more collaborative with your colleagues. It actually opened the door to more creativity. The things I used to spend time on cutting up things for projects or to analyze different things took a lot of time, and now you have computers where you can push it out and get it to them in different ways and more effectively. So it actually kind of cleans up my planning time and prep time to focus more on what the kids actually need and what I need to do, as opposed to doing all those little routine things, making copies. I don't spend time at the copy room anymore. That's over with. So that's pretty cool.
It seems normal now.
For the students, all the innovations just seem routine. Lyon Jenkins is a junior here.
That's what I've known for high school, at least. All the assignments are on, online, so you can just access them whenever you need to. Like, we're always right next to each other. It's usually beneficial, and then when we come out here and maybe relax a little bit, but still get our work done, it's a little more casual on working on it than inside the classroom. But we're still doing our work good. It does look like college or whatever with all the open classrooms and things like that. And I've had, other family members tell me that it's like a community college.
The goal isn't just to look like a college campus, but to break down barriers between education in the classroom and the realities of college and the working world.
The way we do work has changed. The way we learn has changed. We hope here at Glenn High School that the environment's created where that's going to make that transition a lot easier and a lot more successful.
While this Leander campus incorporates cutting-edge technology in classrooms and curriculum, the first Central Texas school district to put a device in the hands of every single student was Eanes ISD in Westlake.
Do the swipe down and type it in?
When iPads hit the scene in 2010, the Eanes district jumped at the chance to provide this new learning tool to all students. KLRU SciTech reporter Samantha Guzman checks in with Eanes to explore the impact iPads have made almost a decade down the road and looks at the ever-present digital divide in public education.
Perfect. So that's your username, right?
It's 6th grade orientation day at Hill Country Middle School in Westlake, a suburb of Austin in the Eanes Independent School District.
If you go to any of the middle tables, they can help you set up.
These 6th graders are picking up their personal iPads. Each student in the district, yes, even kindergartners, are given their very own iPad. It's part of Eanes' one-to-one initiative. One student, one device.
So each kid has a unique login and password. So that's how they access all of their apps and email. And so they're coming in, they're getting that on a sticker so that they have access to it. Once they have that, they'll go get their iPad, and then we have stations set up for them to go through the setup process within the iPad, set up their email, set up passcodes, and once they're done there, they get to go back to class.
We want to kick off 2010 by introducing a truly magical and revolutionary product today. And we call it the iPad.
Nearly 10 years ago, the first iPads hit stores. And about a year after that, EISD implemented a pilot program to test the devices in their high school. The program quickly expanded, and soon the tablets trickled down to middle and elementary schools, until eventually every child in Eanes was given an iPad.
For our students, they could keep everything that was school in one area. There was no more papers lost, lockers weren't being used, and it was pretty amazing to see some of our kids who had executive functioning skills. They suddenly had the ability to keep everything together. They knew where everything was.
Schools in Eanes are technology havens. Classrooms are equipped with smart boards and Apple TVs. Teachers use Google Classroom to distribute lesson plans, and kindergartners start the school year by getting their own email accounts.
Kids could have it all right there, so they didn't have to keep up with 4 or 5 different notebooks per subject. It was all right there.
Yeah, that's a biggie. Or is it very small? Uh-oh.
Kathy Yanka is a math teacher at Hill Country Middle School. She's been teaching at Eanes for 8 years.
I'm one of those who loves middle school students. They keep me laughing, they keep me current.
Yanka uses the iPad in her classroom almost daily.
The iPad has really been a game changer. The high impact way we use it almost on a daily basis is with formative assessment. So in layman's terms, formative assessment just means that minute-by-minute assessment of what's going on.
I know sometimes the screen gets a little cluttered and
Today, Yanka is teaching her students how to use their graphing calculators. She says the iPad has helped her change what used to be straightforward instruction into a more fun and engaging lesson. Using an app called Nearpod, Yenka is able to control every iPad in the classroom. When she switches a slide in her presentation, all the iPads switch as well.
Here we go. Let's take a little lap through here.
She can also have her students take polls and quizzes on their devices and get the results in real time.
All right, nicely done. 85% for our first go at it. That's not too shabby.
10 years ago, a student might have used a pen and paper to work out simple math problems. Now, students can use their iPads, and Yenka has the ability to not only see what every student is working on from her device, she can share every student's work on the smartboard at the front of the class.
The beauty of the iPad and the technology we have here in Eanes is that that student work can be anonymized, it can be showcased, and it can promote conversation about mathematics in the classroom. What I love about using the iPad to capture student thinking is that their thinking becomes the focus, and the conversations we have are about them and what they're doing.
The iPads have opened up a world of possibilities for the educators at Eanes, but it's not just teachers that make this program work. There's a whole staff behind the scenes making tech successful.
You know, the kids see that they get their iPad, but they don't know that it took, 16 people or 5 people to do that specific thing so that it works the way they want it to work for them. It's the planning and the processes. It's the acceptable use agreement. We really do have a lot of people thoughtfully going through the device from ordering to giving it to the student. We do all of that work for our kids.
Sailors is one of many staff members in Eanes whose job it is to make their tech initiative successful. It's not just teachers with iPads. Each school in the district has educational partners like Mariana Ricketson. Ricketson has been working in the district since 2002. She's an instructional coach who helps teachers integrate tech into their curriculum.
So the teachers, we help them learn through how to use this as an instructional tool. The iPad has so many different accessibility tools. Being able to put the screen to a bigger size, changing the font was revolutionary in many ways when teachers were trying to prepare materials for kids who have different needs. So teachers learned first, then we had the coaches on the side to be able to incorporate. Now that I know how to use a tool, how do I use it best for instruction?
So, how did Eanes pay for this program? In 2011, EISD passed a $54 million bond package. About $15 million went into buying iPads and starting plans that would eventually lead to the one-to-one initiative they have today. But the district still needed more money to hire the staff to support this system. Texas has no income tax, so schools are primarily funded from property taxes. To make up for the lack of income tax funding, in 1993, the state legislature created a system called recapture. It's commonly known as Robin Hood because the state takes money from districts with high property values and redistributes it to districts with lower home values. EISD is considered a wealthy district. Under the Robin Hood model, about 60% of funds get taken from Eanes and redistributed around the state. Last year, that was about $100 million. To make up for this loss, about 27 years ago, EISD created the Eanes Education Foundation. It's a nonprofit whose sole goal is to raise money for the district. Their motto is funding the gap between adequate and excellent. Last year, the foundation raised $2.8 million. It might not seem like much compared to what's taken from the district, but that money pays for crucial teaching position. It helps hire educational partners like Ricketson and even some special elective teachers like the robotics instructor.
We do have some programs that a lot of schools just do not have. Part of that is because we are the perfect size. And that does matter. Our high school is going to be about 2,900 kids next year. If you're under a certain number of kids, you're not offering the wealth of electives that we're offering because you just don't have the numbers to do it. Or you're trying to do it online, but we'll have almost every language you can think of AP. And we'll have all the sciences AP because we have enough kids signing up for it. We'll have the business incubator. We'll have about 150 kids starting LCs in this room next year. And a lot of schools can't pull that off because their numbers are too small.
Remember when you're scanning if your
The fact that Eanes can hire this staff makes a huge difference in the success of their tech initiative. And the fact that poorer schools don't have the money to hire the support staff makes a difference too. This is what media expert Craig Watkins describes as the new digital divide.
As we think about what's happening on the ground in schools, the disparity that we're seeing, right, is not so much that some schools have access to tech and others don't. Most schools now provide access to technology. What's really lacking, right, is access to robust learning opportunities, well-developed and thought-out curriculum that are intended to really help students develop the kinds of skills that are becoming increasingly important in the 21st century.
It's not just about getting tech into students' hands. Resources and training are essential.
We know, for example, that in lower income schools, teachers who don't necessarily have the qualifications or aren't prepared to teach tech-oriented classes are oftentimes recruited, even though they aren't necessarily qualified to do so. We also know, right, that lower income schools don't have access to resources that allow their teachers to pursue what we might call professional development opportunities. And this is teachers going to conferences, going to training workshops that allows them to kind of grow their own knowledge and insight about how technology might be used in the classroom. So for those schools, right, that can afford to send their teachers to those kinds of events, those kinds of workshops, seminars, and activities, they're just it put in a much better advantageous position to then be able to sort of think outside of the box about how this technology can actually be used to really drive deep and robust learning.
It's this access that allowed Eanes to adopt the iPad so early on. Administrators were able to visit Silicon Valley soon after these devices hit stores.
It was the spring of 2011. Our principal at the time was Linda Rawlings. I was the associate principal, and she went off to Cupertino. They came back and said, I think we're going to distribute iPads to some of our students.
EISD knows providing teachers and administrators with opportunities like this are important. That's why they started the foundation in the first place, to have the money needed to retain teachers.
You know, we have a foundation that helps us a lot. Our parents are supplementing a lot of things on the side that we have nothing to do with. No matter what, rich or poor, they all need that. They all need very good teachers. And I know there's some great teachers in high poverty schools. There really are. But I know that if you look at the numbers, their retention rates are tougher than our retention rates.
And until we deal with the disparity in teaching, Watkins says no amount of tech can make up for the inequality that exists in our school system.
I think there's been an arms race to bring more technology into the classroom with the view that that was the key to bridging the academic achievement gap in education. I think what's really going to transform that gap is just higher quality teaching, higher quality instruction. And that really means reinvesting in our education programs in higher education, think about what it means to produce future-ready students, and providing them with the resources to be able to do that. So less tech in the classroom, better prepared teachers in the classroom, better designed curricula that are oriented towards helping students cultivate the skills of tomorrow.
I'll be continuing my reporting on iPads in the classroom for KLRU's SciTech Now. You can follow all the stories at klru.org/science.
Educating our children is a very personal decision for parents. For some, it means going back to the basics and doing the teaching themselves. We talked to one Central Texas mother about why she chose to homeschool her 3 children.
I didn't know anything about homeschooling. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. But it's huge here, apparently. And it was just kind of like, what is this homeschooling thing? Like, how does that work? Because it just keeps coming up. We travel together as a family. We take vacations together as a family. Like, it's remarkable. It's wonderful. For me, our core is math, Latin, and English. Can you move your books back on the table? We've been in the Austin area on and off since about 2008. We were military and we were stationed in Fort Hood. We went overseas to do some contracting. So shortly after that, I got out and then he got out shortly after. I was so excited, right? I got a kid, he's getting ready to start kindergarten, right? And I went to enroll him in school, and they said, oh, no, he's not 5. I just felt like that was a whole waste of a year. So yeah, we started going to the library and going to museums and going to parks, and it really just spiraled from there out of my determination to not have him stagnant. In Texas, the law states pretty much we treat you like a private school. So the state says we really only regulate public schools. So like state mandated testing, my kids are not required to do that. Attendance, I'm not required to keep that. Grades, I'm not required to keep that. So it's basically, as long as it's not a sham, as long as you're just not sitting around all day not doing anything, Texas says, teach them core subjects, basically reading, writing, arithmetic, and citizenship. We won't bother you. Like, we're not gonna come knocking on your door. Nobody's gonna be like, why aren't they in school? It's all on you. In a way, that amount of freedom is fantastic. But when I first started, that amount of freedom, it was scary because there was no guidance. And I refer to my oldest, Jermaine, quite often as my experiment. He was my experimental child. And I think most homeschoolers that you talk to will say the same thing. Like, every time I'm having a conversation with someone else, they're like, you too? Yeah, I know. Poor, the first one, poor baby, they always get it. Since day one, my goal is to have very independent, self-sufficient kids. Like, in the morning, I don't get up. Everyone sets their own alarm. All of them can kind of, to an extent, work on their own. I'm more just a facilitator at this point. I think that the mobile homeschooler is becoming more of a thing. I think most of us spend a lot of our time on the road. My kids are very competitive. I have swimmers, and my daughter is a gymnast, and she's recently decided that she wants to become an Olympian, so she's on what they call an elite track. We're such a close-knit family, and we really, really, and I think that shows, like, we really love each other, we really go to bat for each other. Like, a lot of those, I guess you would say, core family values that people are claiming you don't see a lot anymore, we still have that, and I think largely that is because we choose to homeschool.
Since Texas doesn't regulate homeschooling, it's tough to get hard numbers. But the Texas Homeschool Coalition estimates there are more than 350,000 Texas children being taught at home. Finally tonight, the future of education may be filled with technology. But when it comes to developing children's social and emotional connections, something as simple as a baby doll can work wonders.
Our foundations for relationships for the rest of our lives are really built from birth to 3. And when children are connected, when children feel safe, when they feel loved, then they're able to learn. Good morning, and how do you do? Let's take a Baby Doll Circle Time was funded in partnership with a grant from the Austin Ed Fund. We have purchased the materials for all 52 pre-K-3 teachers in the district to have the curriculum in both English and Spanish and to have a full set of dolls. When you have your baby, go back and sit in your seat. There's something about the dolls that just lights kids up. When they see the dolls, they know, oh, this is something special, this is something for me. And I think that they immediately are sort of imitating their caregiver. And I think it's really important to note that this curriculum is for both boys and girls, and we recognize that all human beings need connection. Get your baby, get your baby. Young children really thrive when they have repetition. And so every time you bring the babies in, you sing the song, get your baby, get your baby, get your baby, time to play. And then there's a piece in the curriculum that's about connection. So they're connecting with the baby. And then they kind of move on in the practice of doing something playful with the baby. And then it always wraps up with a sort of goodbye ritual with the babies.
So they're able to develop lots of skills such as empathy, connection, attention, attunement, and those are all really important skills for them to have throughout their life.
Social emotional awareness is the foundation for learning. When we are connected to each other, when we are connected to our caregiver, when we're connected, we can, just do so much more.
For optimal development, play is critical. It can be blended with academics, and I think that that's also something that we're going to see as kind of a frontier of education, is making sure that we're not doing things in a separate way.
Where's my baby?
We need to connect and ensure that things are meaningful for children.
Okay, ready? My baby's sitting.
Who doesn't love watching preschoolers play with baby dolls? We hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode of Decibel. We're here every Friday night at 7:30. As always, we invite your comments and ideas and invite you to follow Decibel on social media and YouTube. Thanks so much for sharing part of your evening with us. Good night.
Funding for Decibel is provided by Texas Mutual Insurance.